After
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard, and he told me it was disrespectful to the game.
Higher television ratings, higher attendance figures. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't come courtesy of a league. It comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. And in her case, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line, which means you should have seen that from day one and maximized it. But you didn't do it.
Stephen A. Smith is never one to bite his tongue, but this time, he did more than just share an opinion. He ignited a firestorm. His scathing takedown of the WNBA's handling of Caitlin Clark wasn't just another bold statement. It was a wake-up call. At the center of his criticism, the league's failure to fully embrace and capitalize on its most electrifying new star.
You didn't want to, rather. You were a bit hesitant and reluctant and resistant to it. So much so you didn't push for her to be on Team USA. So much so you had people like Cheryl Swoops who didn't even want to mention her name.
Now, imagine this. A player so dynamic, so undeniably marketable that she's packing stadiums and pulling in record-breaking TV ratings. Caitlin Clark isn't just a standout player. She's a phenomenon, the kind of generational talent who could elevate women's basketball to new heights. Yet, instead of maximizing her meteoric rise, the WNBA's response has been disappointingly lukewarm. Fans everywhere are left wondering, is this league even serious about growing its brand?
Then are you willing to admit how stupid it was for y'all not to go all in speaking your piece to elevate Caitlin Clark? So therefore even more attention could have come and y'all could have reaped the benefits? Now you're gonna do it anyway, and I get that, but you see my point?
But Smith didn't just call out the missed opportunities. He raised alarms about what's at stake. The WNBA is at a pivotal moment, one that could define its trajectory for years to come. If they continue to mismanage Clark's stardom, the league risks fumbling the biggest chance it has ever had to reach a broader audience. What happens if they keep underplaying her impact? How do you justify sidelining the most bankable star to enter the league in decades?
And everybody talking about other WNBA players not being appreciated. Nobody insulted them. Nobody dismissed their contribution. We were simply saying, despite the contributions for years and years and years, a lot of people didn't care. Fair or not, until Caitlin Clark came along.
When Stephen A. Smith speaks, it's not just noise. It's an event that shakes up the conversation. And this time, his sharp critique put the WNBA on blast, particularly its leadership under Commissioner Cathy Engelbert and certain veteran players. His frustration boiled over as he dissected how the league has failed to fully embrace Caitlin Clark's arrival, a player whose performances have shattered expectations and electrified the basketball world.
But if you went the opposite direction, it could have helped that much and facilitated you being in an even stronger position to get yours. But you didn't do it. You didn't do it. Wow.
Look at the way Clark's historic milestones have been received, or rather, ignored. She's earned accolades left and right: Forbes 30 Under 30, SBJ Sportsperson of the Year, AP Female Athlete of the Year, Time Athlete of the Year, and has even taken the initiative to boost women's sports through high-profile appearances and speaking engagements. But how did the WNBA respond? Silence. Instead of using these moments to highlight the game's rising popularity, the league barely acknowledged them, missing a golden opportunity to amplify Clark's impact. And then there's the way her Rookie of the Year award was handled. Other players received grand celebrations for their achievements, but Clark? Just a routine phone call. No major announcement, no big production, just another opportunity squandered. Fans noticed the disparity, and they weren't quiet about it. Clark has done more to bring new eyes to the WNBA than any player in recent history, yet the league seems hesitant to give her the platform she's already earned.
They decided that they were going to let her know she was Rookie of the Year with a phone call in Connecticut during a practice before a playoff game. You can't make this up.
The question now is, why? Why is the WNBA dragging its feet when it comes to promoting the very player who could lead them into a new era? And more importantly, How long can they afford to keep making the same mistakes before it costs them everything? Stephen A. Smith's explosive take wasn't just another headline. It was the truth that many fans and analysts had been thinking for months. His words perfectly captured the growing frustration within the WNBA community. This wasn't solely about Caitlin Clark. It was about a broader issue: how the league handles its biggest stars, its lack of aggressive promotion, and its failure to fully capitalize on the momentum that Clark has single-handedly generated. Smith made it clear, this wasn't just about a few PR missteps. The real problem? A league that seems hesitant or even confused about how to embrace its top-tier talent. In a time when sports are driven by marketable superstars, Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's biggest draw. She's smashing attendance records, pulling in TV ratings that rival major men's sports, and introducing a new wave of fans to women's basketball. Yet, instead of amplifying this, the WNBA seems to be downplaying her success, almost as if it's afraid to acknowledge her full impact.
It elevated television ratings, it elevated attendance, and it damn sure elevated franchise value. But now, something that y'all resisted talking about, opining about, acknowledging.
And that's exactly why Stephen A. Smith's passionate critique hit so hard. The stakes couldn't be higher. The WNBA is at a crucial turning point, and fans are not just spectators in this. They are demanding more from the league. They want a clear plan for growth, consistent messaging that celebrates their biggest stars, and most importantly, a leadership team that understands the importance of this moment. Without these things, even the most groundbreaking stars can only do so much. What happens if the WNBA keeps fumbling these chances? The risk isn't just a missed opportunity, it's stagnation at a time when momentum is everything. Stephen A. wasn't just offering criticism, he was putting the league on notice. Caitlin Clark represents the future of women's basketball. She's more than just a talented newcomer. She's a generational player who could elevate the WNBA to new heights. But for that to happen, the league must decide if it's ready to fully embrace her rise, or if it's going to continue making the same old mistakes.
I said Caitlin Clark, rising tide lifts all boats. As much as her presence was maximized by the WNBA, you players could have done more to assist it.
The frustration surrounding the league's leadership reached new heights when Commissioner Cathy Engelbert took center stage on national television. Fans and players alike were eager to hear a strong, decisive leader lay out a compelling vision for the future of the WNBA. Instead, what they got was a collection of vague remarks that left more questions than answers. Her recent appearances on 60 Minutes and CNBC's Power Lunch made one thing painfully clear. There's a disconnect between leadership and the reality of what's happening in the league. Take her 60 Minutes interview, where Engelbert was asked about Caitlin Clark's unprecedented impact on the game. This was the perfect opportunity to recognize and celebrate one of the WNBA's most influential players. But her response? No league is ever about one player.
I noticed when you're asking about Caitlin a lot, you bring up other rookies as well.
No league's ever about one player. That player could get hurt or whatever. So I think it's just to give recognition that in sports, people watch for compelling content and rivalries. And you can't do that alone as one person.
While technically true, the comment felt dismissive, almost as if she was deliberately downplaying Clark's significance. Fans immediately took to social media, calling out the league for failing to properly acknowledge the very player who has driven record viewership, ticket sales, and engagement. Instead of celebrating Clark's accomplishments, Engelbert's words made it seem like the league was reluctant to fully embrace the reality of her influence. The disconnect became even more glaring during her CNBC Power Lunch appearance, where she spoke about rivalries as a key factor in driving viewership. But instead of addressing critical concerns, such as player safety, officiating consistency, and fair treatment, she leaned heavily on buzzwords and marketing jargon. This lack of substance didn't sit well with fans or players, many of whom have been calling for tangible changes, not just PR spin. The interview only reinforced the growing perception that the league's leadership isn't fully in tune with what's actually happening on the court.
One white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another.
This isn't just a perception issue. It has real consequences. While Engelbert talks about leveraging rivalries to boost ratings, players like Caitlin Clark are dealing with inconsistent officiating, unnecessary physicality, and unfair treatment. Fans aren't asking for scripted drama. They want a league that prioritizes fairness, player safety, and professionalism. If these core issues aren't addressed, the WNBA risks alienating the very audience that Clark has worked so hard to attract.
It's a balance, but certainly from a marketing dollars, but corporate partners are stepping up to endorse these players much more so than they were 5 years ago.
A prime example of this? The WNBA's officiating inconsistencies, which have become a major point of frustration among fans and analysts. The league's refereeing swings wildly from overly strict to frustratingly lenient, making it difficult for players to adapt. This isn't just about bad calls, it's a player safety issue. For a superstar like Clark, whose game thrives on attacking the basket and pushing the pace, this inconsistency makes her an even bigger target. One particular incident perfectly illustrated the problem. During a game, Clark was given a technical foul for accidentally hitting the ring post, a moment so absurd it quickly went viral. Fans were quick to point out the double standard, questioning why similar moments from other players were either ignored or lightly penalized. This inconsistency fuels the perception that Clark is being held to a different standard than other stars in the league.
And Caitlin Clark gets hit with a technical. After
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard. And he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball.
So, did Diana Taurasi receive the same technical foul for the exact same play? That's the burning question. Let's take a closer look.
Pass, and Diana Taurasi, they'll count the bucket.
These officiating blunders go beyond just a bad call. They expose a deeper problem within the WNBA. It's not just about missed whistles or questionable fouls. It's about the growing perception that the league is more focused on optics than making meaningful improvements. Instead of addressing blatant inconsistencies in officiating, the league continues to push marketable storylines, such as heated rivalries, as a way to generate buzz. But fans have made it clear, they're not asking for artificial drama. They want fairness. The focus should be on the actual game, not controversies surrounding how it's being officiated.
Yeah, and the one thing as a very long-term sports fan I know is that officiating and refereeing is always at the top of a fan's list, of the media's list. Obviously, not every, they're humans.
Player safety is another area where the WNBA is dropping the ball. Caitlin Clark's historic freshman campaign wasn't just about breaking records. It was also a grueling test of endurance. Game after game, Clark was subjected to excessive physical play, taking hits that often crossed the line. Fans and analysts alike raised alarms about the number of dangerous fouls she endured, yet the league's response has been frustratingly lackluster. There have been no real efforts to improve officiating consistency or introduce stricter safety measures to protect players from unnecessary harm. Let's break it down by comparing one of Clark's most controversial fouls to how a similar play is handled in the NBA. The difference? Startling. The contrast reveals a clear double standard, highlighting just how unprepared the WNBA is to handle the physicality of its growing game. The inconsistency not only affects players' safety, but also damages the league's credibility in the eyes of both players and fans.
Don't tell me Caitlin Clark gets a special whistle ever again. One call was an ejection and the other was a common foul. Now, let's replay this one more damn time. So I can see right here. This was the exact same damn play. Look, same play. Same play, bro. Look at this. Are you serious right here? Boom. Same play.
Crushed by Williams at
Same play.
half-court.
Now, Grant Williams was ejected for that.
Beyond the glaring officiating issues, the WNBA's failure to properly capitalize on Caitlin Clark's rise raises an entirely different concern. Fans packed arenas, TV ratings shattered records, and social media engagement skyrocketed. Yet somehow, the league failed to seize the moment. Clark's jerseys were constantly sold out, but there was little to no official merchandise commemorating her record-breaking rookie season. Even the promotional efforts surrounding her success felt underwhelming, leaving fans wondering why the league wasn't fully leaning into this once-in-a-generation moment. Clark's freshman year wasn't just a spectacle. It was a golden opportunity for the WNBA to redefine itself. Yet instead of embracing the hype and riding the wave of excitement, the league fumbled the bag, missing countless chances to elevate both Clark and the sport as a whole. These missteps aren't just frustrating, they're potentially catastrophic. A league at a pivotal moment can't afford to keep making the same mistakes. Without bold action, the WNBA risks losing more than just momentum. It could alienate the very fans and players that drive its success.
This league could actually be that dense. Professional league, guys. We're not talking about a rec league. We're not talking about even a high school team. Nobody believes that anybody is that clueless.
This isn't just about promotional missteps. It's about the league's long-term trajectory. If the WNBA continues prioritizing surface-level marketing wins over substantial structural improvements, it risks stagnation at a time when growth should be its top priority. Caitlin Clark has given the league a rare opportunity to reach new heights. But the real question is, will the leadership take advantage of it, or will they continue letting these unresolved issues overshadow the league's full potential? Beyond the promotional aspect, the WNBA's lack of strong player advocacy has sparked increasing criticism. Rivalries and intense competition are great for driving engagement, but they shouldn't come at the expense of telling deeper, more meaningful stories. Clark's rise wasn't just about her on-court dominance. It was about her journey, the impact she had on women's basketball, and the new wave of fans she introduced to the sport. The league had the perfect chance to align itself with that story, yet it failed to do so in a meaningful way.
Such an incredible moment on a global scale for our game, for our players.
It's like the fans are absolutely incredible. It's the same when we go on the road. Like there's so many people that are showing up in fever gear. It's really affecting, teams all across our league, which is a really great thing. And, really, I think we're just scratching the surface.
Clark's influence extended far beyond her own brand. Her record-setting performances didn't just elevate her own status. They lifted the entire league. New fans, casual sports enthusiasts, and college basketball supporters flocked to WNBA games because of her. Her story proved that individual greatness can have ripple effects across an entire sport. So, the obvious question remains: why wasn't the league prepared to embrace this shift? Her debut season showcased the heights the WNBA is capable of reaching, but the league's response to that surge in popularity revealed its glaring flaws. From the uninspired way they handled her Rookie of the Year award to Commissioner Cathy Engelbert's tone-deaf remarks in major interviews, the WNBA has repeatedly failed to fully support its stars. It leaves fans asking, why isn't the league embracing its biggest names? Why do fundamental issues like officiating and player safety remain unresolved?
We're bringing more and more fans to this league, people that have maybe never watched the WNBA before, and it kind of takes your breath away at points.
Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise provides a clear roadmap for what the WNBA could become. An organization that actively celebrates its biggest stars, listens to its players, and adapts to the demands of modern sports culture. The potential for growth is massive, but so is the risk of failure. By prioritizing fairness, player safety, and strategic innovation, the WNBA has the chance to solidify itself as a powerhouse in the sports world for generations to come. The league stands at a defining crossroads. Will it recognize the moment and evolve, becoming the platform its players and fans have been waiting for? Or will it let history slip through its grasp, forever stuck in a cycle of missed opportunities? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: people are watching, and they expect real change. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.